It's a long way out. Hits it. There is no stopping this man.
It's going to be a tough game. They've got forwards, quick, running in behind, direct. Hopefully we can score and get the first goal, because they are also very dangerous on set plays.
Great ball across towards Rashford, surely. There it is. I told you. That's the winner. That's the winner from Marcus Rashford.
Bournemouth got the first victory between these two sides when they met in 2015, but since then it's been all Manchester United. United have won the last 3 encounters, and Bournemouth, in fact, haven't scored in their last 3 Premier League games, something that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be hoping happens again today. Welcome to The Vitality. I'm pitchside right now with Ben Thornley. Ben, how are you?
I'm all right. A bit cold, a bit wet, but not too bad.
Yeah, that's the obvious talking point, is the weather is horrendous. I've heard they've cancelled trains in and around the Bournemouth area. How do you think this will affect the players today?
I think the conditions, under normal circumstances, when you're playing in the Premier League, they don't tend to have much of a bearing conditions like these, but because this stadium is obviously very small, it's not very high, then it will cause quite a few problems with this really, really strong wind that we've got.
Yeah, it's been whipping around. When I first arrived, it sounded like the stadium was full because you could hear it echoing. Will that make a difference to the ball?
Well, it'll certainly make a difference to the trajectory of the ball. You have to make sure when it's up your back, you don't overhit your passes. When it's not, you don't underhit them. And certainly when the ball's coming in high from free kicks, corners, etc., it's going to be a bit of a nightmare for defenders and the goalkeeper.
Okay.
But concentration's got to be high.
Okay. Away from the weather then and on to Manchester United. 3 wins away on the bounce. How good has that been?
It's been fantastic. I mean, obviously it was before the Liverpool game, we were a little bit indifferent with the results that we'd had, and obviously we're in a precarious position in the league, but tremendous performance against Liverpool, and then going away to Partizan Belgrade, coming back to Norwich, winning at Chelsea with a spectacular free kick from Marcus the other night, and now coming here, which you never know what you're going to get from Bournemouth. When you look at the lineup, they're full of goals, and it's amazing that they haven't scored for 3 games. They can either be extremely entertaining or really dire, and we hope we get them on the latter today.
Certainly we do. Talking about that Chelsea game, how impressed were you with Man United's approach to the game, considering it was away?
Yeah, I thought tactically Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got it spot on. We reverted back to a back 3. Obviously, with the injury to I think it was Victor Lindelof, we reverted, as I thought we might, to a back 4. And I just thought that for the 20 minutes that Chelsea were in charge in the second half, they needed to score, and they did have a couple of decent chances. They didn't, and after Marcus scored, it was all United, and I think we were deserved winners on the night.
I agree. Well, they've just turned the music on here, so I think now is a good time to hear from the manager. Here's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Ollie, what a win it was on Wednesday. Your reward for that, again against Colchester, for a place in the semis. Your thoughts on that one?
First of all, obviously when you go away to Chelsea, you know it's going to be a tough game, and it needed something special to win it, and it was a fantastic free kick. Great confidence by Marcus, just to step up to do the penalty, but also the free kick, of course. So, and just getting a draw at home is great for us. It's going to be a tough December month as well, loads of games. So we've been travelling a lot lately, so we'll take the home games.
A fantastic match for Colchester, a great reward for them to come to Old Trafford for their exploits in the Cup so far.
Yeah, but they're going to come to beat us, obviously, so we've just got to make sure that we prepare and perform well. They've beaten Tottenham on the way to the quarters, so we're not going to take that lightly, but it's still a long way off, so we've got plenty of time. Yeah,
it certainly is. How happy are you then with the way the team's playing right now?
A week is a long time in football, and the last week has been a great week for us. We've been travelling a lot, stayed together a lot, had time to do meetings, chats, and to that camaraderie, the team spirit is building when you win games, and the mood's better. So of course we've enjoyed the last week.
And 3 away wins on the spin now, so how important to keep up that momentum?
Very. It's been 3 away wins in 3 different competitions, so it's not like it gives us any momentum in the league. So we need to go again against Bournemouth. To travel down there is never easy. They've stopped conceding goals, but they've not scored a lot lately either, so it's going to be probably a game that might have to be decided by something fantastic and magical again.
Yeah, you're right to say that they've stopped conceding goals. They've kind of flipped round, really. They were renowned for scoring a lot of goals but conceding too many, and at the moment it has flipped on its head.
Yeah, and you see the performances they've had. It's been solid, and they're always a danger on counter-attacks with the pace of Josh, for example, Wilson. You got set pieces with the other Wilson. So they're always a danger to if you give them too many opportunities.
How difficult will they make it then for you down on the south coast?
Everyone at home wants to win a game, and when you play Man United, it's going to be a good atmosphere. Fans are going to be up for it, players are going to be up for it. So we've just got to keep on going as we've done lately. I think the confidence has grown, belief in what we're doing. Of course, it's when you get results, it helps.
So what's the squad looking like for the trip then? Any players back or any?
None of them's looking any better because probably some of them didn't have to wear masks even on Halloween. But now we're still staying together. I don't think we've lost anyone on Wednesday night, so hopefully we can put a strong team out.
Lost no one, but no one back either.
Don't think so.
Likely.
No, don't.
In recent games as well, you shuffled between those different formations, and I think the players have adapted really well. So that's a great testament to the work done on the training pitch by the coaching team.
Well, the coaches, they're fantastic. You know, the preparation, the amount of hours they spend to prepare a session or prepare games, it's fantastic. Kieran, Michael, Martin, the analysis group, of course, it makes it easier for Mick and myself to put a team out.
And the way the players who came into the team on Wednesday played, you've got a few problems now in your selection, which is the position you want to be in.
It's a good challenge, and I wouldn't call it a problem, but it's good decisions to make because the players have really performed. They've taken the chances well, and to leave players out, if that's the decision, that's a better decision for me instead of, wow, who am I going to put on the team sheet? So now we're looking good.
So the first thing to talk about, Ben, off the back of that win at Chelsea in the League Cup, is that we're now into the next round. We've got Colchester, Ollie warning that they're not going to be a pushover because they beat Spurs. Is it easy to underestimate the smaller clubs?
You shouldn't. Obviously, Colchester have had some good wins. They beat Spurs on the way, obviously, and it does.
How you doing, mate? Love to see you. You alright?
Oh, how are you?
Good to see you, man.
Are you okay?
Rio?
This is a bit
How
of
you
a level
doing?
of this, isn't it? This weather, the wind and that. I can't believe it.
Rio, give us...
I'm down here thinking it's going to be 3-4-0.
What about that? And what about the win?
It could be either way.
2-1 we'll win, I think.
Still take it?
Is Marcus fit?
We don't know.
You must know.
He said there isn't any injury changes for
Oh,
Wednesday.
we'll win. I think we'll win 2-1.
As a centre-back, does this weather make it harder or is it more fun?
It's not fun. It makes it a bit more difficult, but you get through it. The top players can get through just like any weather, do you know what I mean?
Cheers, Rio.
See you, Rio. Top man, you too.
An exclusive from Rio Ferdinand. He thinks we're going to win 2-1. Ben, back to Colchester.
I forgot. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, you can't...
You starstruck?
You can't...
Is that what it is?
You can't... You can't worry about going into games against the lower opposition, but you can't underestimate them either. You know, I think when you look at the teams that we could have potentially got, Leicester, Man City, Liverpool, I think it's a route into the semi-final without any question.
Yeah. I'm going to pull you up, Ben, because you've just said you can't underestimate them, and then you've said I think it's a route into the semi-final without any question.
No, you can't underestimate them.
You can be confident,
but
I guess.
you've got to be confident
Right.
to be going into. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, I don't think anybody gave us a chance to beat Chelsea the other night because of the way that United had performed, you know, prior to those 3 games, and this was potentially a difficult game. And Chelsea, on the back of 7 straight victories, it was a really, really good performance, and it keeps that momentum going. And I think, you know, the more games that you win, the bigger, obviously, the bigger your confidence becomes. And you know, I think it's a great time. Looking forward to January, and we're we're in the semi-final of our first trophy.
Yeah, well, you'd think, given the draw, at some point we would meet City. Liverpool perhaps going to have to pull out of the competition. Would you rather them in the final or the semi-final?
Oh, you don't want to lose in a semi-final. You want to get to the. I mean, you don't want to lose in a final either, obviously. But you want to get to the final because everybody knows that it's a one-off game, and if you can perform to your max, then this team, Manchester United, they can beat anybody, and I think they've proved that over the season.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. OK, so we touched on this earlier about the concept of United changing formations. Ollie said there that having Kieran McKenna and Michael Carrick has allowed him to keep changing formations. Do you prefer a settled formation, or do you like this sort of fluid approach to a back three, a back four? And if so, which one do you prefer?
I do prefer a settled formation, but I also think that it's really good that you can adapt. And that obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got the players to be able to adapt. I thought the way that he used his went to a back three against Liverpool, it really threw Liverpool, and they didn't react to it at all. And United were much the better team. Obviously back to a back four, then back to a back three. I think that if you've got the ability and the players to be able to adapt, to be able to do that, depending on who you're playing, then all the better for it. Having said that, I would much prefer to have a settled. I would go for a back four.
Okay, traditional, I suppose.
Yes.
Okay. Well, obviously that game at Stamford Bridge was won by a sensational Marcus Rashford free kick. So we've put together a list of the top 10 Manchester United free kicks. I think you'll enjoy this.
If the ball goes over the wall to the goalkeeper's right, to the left as we look. And it's Giggs who takes it to that side! And Mims, wherever it came from, didn't have it covered. Giggs gives a goal worthy of the occasion.
Hislop poised. And could do nothing about it. But it didn't go in at a great height for 2 in a week.
Oh, it's got in! Wayne Rooney! That's the record! He makes history! 250! Wayne Rooney, United's greatest goal scorer. What a goal. What a goal. What a goal.
Key moment in the game, this. Manchester United, who had Barcelona where they wanted them, now been pegged back. Need somebody to get them going again. It's Beckham. It's absolutely fantastic, both in its execution and its timing, because boy did Manchester United need something like that then. Wonderful, wonderful goal by David Beckham.
Well, we've seen him hit a few, Clive, but I'll tell you what, that is as good as many. That's probably the best he's ever hit.
This is incredible. I think that's the first time we've ever seen a free kick given from outside the box, and United don't have a player in there. Owen, it's 3! And everything they hit ends up in the back of the net. And even by Manchester United standards, this is simply stunning.
Ronaldo's third effort from distance. Rooney's there as well, having a bit of a conflab right at the end of the first half. It is Ronaldo! Oh, what a goal! What a strike from Ronaldo! Goalkeeper didn't move! What a screamer! Game over! Ronaldo has done it again! His 17th of the season! Oh, what a shot that was! 3-0.
Scholes is behind it as well, but there's no doubt that Veron is going to hit it. 3 goals already this season. Are we to see another Sabre-Veron special? Yes, we are! Absolutely magnificent from Sabre-Veron. Jääskeläinen no chance, and the dull afternoon is lit up by the Argentinian brilliance.
Steve, eat your heart out, David Beckham. What a free kick that is, absolutely. The power behind it, that's what beats the goalkeeper more than anything. It's just the power of the shot. The goalie no chance, top quality goalkeeper as well, but he's aimed for the spot, found it. But it's the power of the shot that beats the goalkeeper, absolutely tremendous.
It's going to be David Beckham. It's over the wall. It's into the corner of the net. It is classic David Beckham. Wayne Rooney standing there more out of hope than expectation.
Will they keep it down? Or have they got enough room to get up and over? He might keep it down.
Here he comes. Oh my word! Can you believe the genius of this man? What a hit! David James stood like a statue, and already United are 2 up, both from Cristiano Ronaldo.
Well, you look at David James, you hold your hands up and you say, unstoppable. Unstoppable. I thought he might have kept that low, he doesn't. Even I don't know what he's going to do. That is tremendous, that is tremendous.
There's a United wall behind the Chelsea wall. Rashford hit it well! Oh, amazing!
No.
Oh, that's Ronaldo-esque! Rashford with an impossible strike from fully 40 yards into the top corner, right in front of the United fans. Marcus Rashford with something incredibly special here. And is it enough to send United through to the quarter-finals of the League Cup?
The way that he struck it, like you said, Ronaldo-esque, and you said that from the distance, Stuart, the ball had moved in the air, and that moved all over the place. But there was just something about when it left his boot, as soon as it cleared the wall, you just thought, Willy Caballero is not saving this. And he was miles away.
Rio Ferdinand, that was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, it
Nice
was.
of him.
Yeah, it was.
You got a bit carried away. You walked off for a minute. You thought you were done. Rio's here. That's me done. No, Ben. We've still got things to talk about. Mostly those free kicks. Firstly, all brilliant, obviously, always exciting to watch. Which are the standout ones for you?
Well, I mean, you're going to have to go a long way to find a better free kick than the one you saw on Wednesday night for Marcus. It was special, obviously reminiscent of one of the other ones you saw in there, which was Cristiano Ronaldo's against Portsmouth when he left David James flat-footed. Yeah. It wouldn't be right for me not to bring up my old teammate who I've always loved that free kick that he scored against Everton. You just don't see that really anymore, bending it from right to left, and you see the goalkeeper, he didn't have a clue, and he was a fantastic executioner.
Yeah, well, he had 3 in there, didn't he? Loved the free kick. I suppose that's practice and practice and practice, but I guess a part of that is a natural ability to do that. Of course,
but like a lot of the lads when we were growing up, we took our inspiration from Eric Cantona and seeing him staying out, just practicing things, shooting, taking free kicks, just hitting the ball against the wall, and it inspired us to do that. And David used to practice his free kicks all the time, and it's not a coincidence that he scored so many because of the practice he put in.
No, I suppose some people might have been surprised to see Ryan Giggs in there, because you don't think of Ryan Giggs taking free kicks because, of course, David Beckham would take them all.
Yeah, but the one that sticks in my mind, and I'm sure there are many as well, but the one that sticks in my mind was obviously the first Premier League title that we won at Old Trafford, and he scored a wonderful free kick against Blackburn Rovers. And I mean, you could go on and speak about Giggsy for so long, what he managed to do in a Manchester United shirt and what he won and how long he went. It's just incredible. It'd never be bettered.
No, I think you're probably right. Now we're going to have a look at Axel Tuanzebe, who's been back to visit his old school for a new partnership with the Manchester United Foundation.
Today's been the official launch of our partnership with Manchester United. It's been so special. Obviously, we've had past student Axel Tonzidi back doing the launch for us. So it's been a really, really special day. Nice to see him and let him know how proud we are of him, and for the students to meet him and kind of to hopefully emulate what he's done in terms of being successful and working hard.
It's something amazing to kind of see the buildings again and see how my days in school were and see how the kids are doing here now, and obviously visiting old teachers and old memories coming back into play. So, you know, it's something touching, something close to me, and yeah, in the long run it's good to just see the community doing well.
How many countries have you been to, off the top of your head, do you know?
Slovakia, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. If I was in the situation I was when I was younger, I think it'd be massive. I mean, to see someone that's been, you know, on the pathway that I would want to be on, coming back and giving some inspirational words would, you know, just help me understand what I really need to do to become the person I am today.
So I'm going to hand you over to Axel, because Axel's an ex-student from two schools that are both...
Yeah, St John's and St Cuthbert's, yeah. Go ahead.
What advice would you give to another centre-back trying to come up to be a footballer?
Are you a centre-back? I'd say you have to be a pessimist. You have to be someone that sniffs out danger, and obviously you're there to cover everyone's back, so make sure you switched on. It's always nice to come back to see where you've come from and to appreciate what you have now. Yeah, and I love the community here, so it's good. Hello, you okay? 2009, 2010. I think that's obviously the first time they started presenting this trophy.
We had the rewards assembly and the foundation mixed in with it. We had Axel come in and tell us about his story in the school and what he's doing now and how his life has changed because of it.
You know, these are, I'd say, arguably one of the best times in your life, and you know, you should cherish it and make sure you take the most out of it, because before you know it, I mean, there's a couple of year 11s in here, you'll be gone and into college, and all these times are gone and the real work starts then. So don't take school for granted and make sure you're good. Yeah, I just hope some of the stuff today that I said to him could be motivational, can help him understand responsibilities that they have to take upon themselves to become a good person, to have a good career in their life.
Incredible work from the Manchester United Foundation, as always, and a very special day for Axel to head back to his old school. Now, though, let's move on to the match day here at the Vitality and hear from Bournemouth manager Eddie Howe in his pre-match press conference.
If someone had said to you that you would be, after 10 games, level on points with Manchester United, what would you have said?
I hope Man United are top of the league. Yeah, I mean, I think from our perspective, we're relatively happy with what we've done so far this season. I think there's a lot more to come from the team. I genuinely believe that we can play better and we can achieve some really good things this season if we really concentrate on the processes around our performance. Take confidence from what we've delivered so far, but knowing we can achieve more. Manchester United is not up to me, but from our side, I think we're well placed if we can kick on from this position. The league is so tight this year. You would have looked at the table as well as I have. You know, you can look both ways at it. We've got to try and be positive and attack our next game.
A huge next game, an exciting game as well. You've always had good encounters with Manchester United, and it seems that after a really tricky spell where they didn't win in 6, with 3 back-to-back wins, do you feel perhaps Manchester United are getting back to the team that they once were?
Certainly looking at their last few games, which I have in great detail, I think they've played really well. I think game against Chelsea was a very strong performance midweek. So I think they will be pleased with that from their attacking play and from their defensive structures. And then you look back, Norwich away is a tough game. And I thought they were very professional, did the job and got a really good win. So yeah, I think there's positive signs for them. You know, they've obviously got quality players. A very good manager, I think, has given them real stability and is working to the future there and to try and build a new Manchester United.
You touched upon Ole Gunnar Solskjaer there. You talk about him being the right man and the things he's achieved and the history with him as a player. How big a challenge do you think he has jumping into that hot seat? Because the pressure must be humongous.
Yeah, I'd imagine it is, but I think he's handled himself really, really well. Such a big job, as you say, a lot of pressure on you. But I think he's done an excellent job to this point. To be honest, Mark, Manchester United is not, I don't think too much about them. I've got my job to do here and making sure my team is well prepared for this game, but also prepared to show more than our last home game against Norwich, to really show that we want to win this game and to get the supporters on our side. These are going to be crucial things in this match.
When you look back at your Premier League history, the games at Old Trafford, the 0-0, the 2-1 win here against Manchester United, there always seems to be something on the game. They always seem to be sort of good games for Bournemouth.
I think the home games here, I think we've tried to be very competitive against them. Last year was a really tight game. It swung their way in the last few seconds of the match, but I thought we gave them a good match. And then, of course, you talk back to the game that we won here in our first Premier League season was an historic moment for us. I think that gave us real confidence in a time when we needed it. I think we've had some tougher away games at Old Trafford that I remember some difficult moments, but I think here we've been pretty good in the main against them, and we're going to need a good start. We're going to need the crowd absolutely with us, and we really want this ground pumping tomorrow.
So Ben, how impressed with Eddie Howe have you been?
Immensely. I think he's transformed Bournemouth into an established Premier League club. He's bought some really, really exciting players. They've got goals in the team. Sometimes it can probably be a bit hard in your mouth for the home supporters because of the way that they do and sometimes leave themselves exposed. But I think he's done a fantastic job.
OK, well, obviously both teams on equal points so far this season, both in that area where there's quite a lot of teams vying for a few extra points to get clear. We can have a look at the Premier League table now. There we are, United on 13 points as of Bournemouth. How important is it to get that win today and try and get clear of that little pack of like 6th, 7th, 8th?
Yeah, I think we're just about still falling inside that window where if you do either win or lose a couple of games, it can catapult you either up or down the table. And I think before start of play against Norwich, we were in 16th. One win moves us up to where we are now in the table, and another win, hopefully this afternoon, can put us into the top 6. And it is important that we just get on that roll. We're on one now, with another game against Brighton at home next week, which you would expect in the form that we're showing at the moment us to win. Going to the international break with 19 points and hopefully qualifying for the next phase of the Europa League with 2 games to spare if we can get a result against Partizan on Thursday night. And I think this has been a really good couple of weeks.
Do you think it's been difficult for the manager and his coaching staff because we've had so many games in so many different competitions? Like Ollie said earlier, it's been difficult because we've had those 3 wins, but they're all in different competitions, so it's not like it's pushed us anywhere.
No, I appreciate that, but if you're winning, it can only be a good thing. And I think one of the other good things as well is that when you are away from home and you're on the road a lot, I think it just gives the team a lot more time to bond, a lot more time to spend together. And as much as they're probably desperate after today to get back to the families because they've been into Belgrade and they've been in London, they've been over in East Anglia, they're down on the south coast. I think they'll be ready to get back to the families. But I think it's been a good thing, and it's proven that because of the results they've had.
Yeah. Obviously, we don't know the team news yet. We don't know the starting lineup, so we'll have that very, very soon. Ben, given that you don't know the starting lineup or anything, how would you expect today to go?
I would expect it to be difficult. I think the weather, although it does seem to be calming down the time that we've stood here, might play a little bit of a part because, like I said, of the height of the stands. But if United can play the football on the floor, they can get an early goal. I think that they can go on and win this game quite comfortably.
Well, fingers crossed. And now it is time to find out those starting lineups. So let's head to your commentator, Stuart Gardner, with the team news.
And the news here is exactly the same Manchester United team that was so impressive at Norwich a week ago. A few players picked up knocks at Chelsea, but they're all OK. So let's take a look at the lineup, and that is David De Gea, who of course returns in goal. This is the back four: Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, and the captain, Ashley Young. 2 in the centre, McTominay and Fred. Ahead of them, Pereira, Wider, James, and the man of the moment, Rashford, with Martial through the middle. On the bench for United, Romero, the goalkeeper, Juan Mata, Jesse Lingard, Marcus Rocco, Mason Greenwood, James Garner and Brandon Williams. So a bit of youth on the Manchester United bench as well. So that's the United lineup, 4-2-3-1 after, of course, they played 3 at the back in the League Cup in midweek. Bournemouth, straightforward 4-4-2, and that's one change. Harry Wilson coming in to their lineup for Dan Yuma. So they've got the promising Ramsdale in goal, who's been excellent so far for them this season. Smith, Cook, Ake and Rico, the back 4 for Eddie Howe's side. Wilson we expect to play on the right-hand side. Lerma and Billing, formerly of Huddersfield, in the centre of midfield, with Fraser over to the left. Then up front, Callum Wilson and the former United youngster Josh King. So 4-4-2 for Bournemouth, who haven't scored in their last 3 games. Manchester United looking for a 4th consecutive away win in the space of 9 days or so, which would be some achievement. What is a wild and windy morning here on the south coast. So that's it from the team down here at the Vitality Stadium. Now to the Old Trafford studio, Helen and the team.
Thank you, Stuart. So there's your team news then, and here we can see all these team arriving at the Vitality Stadium ahead of the early kick-off there today. Rashford and Martial will be important if United are to extend their winning run on the road this afternoon. Another important Premier League game ahead of us. A very warm welcome along to the Old Trafford studio, where I'm delighted to say we have Wes Brown and Sammy McIlroy joining us for this one. Firstly, guys, how are we both?
Fine, thanks.
Good. Reaction to the team news, firstly with you, Wes?
Yeah, very happy. You know, they were brilliant last time against Norwich, and Ollie's decided to keep the same team. I think the players will be delighted with that as well, as they played so well. And yeah, I mean, very confident at the moment. They'll be going into this game looking to do the best and hopefully get the 3 points. But I don't see why we can't. You know, we're on a good little bit of a run, and if we show the same commitment and attitude, I'm sure we'll do the job.
It's nice as well, Sammy, as well, isn't it, to see same team that we've had in the last Premier League game, back-to-back teams the same.
Absolutely, it makes it easy, I think, for Ollie as well, because confidence, as Wes said, you know, plays a big part, Helen. And before this year, 4 away games, I don't think we'd won in so many away games, and then all of a sudden you have a run at what we're doing. Confidence is just spreading right throughout the team, and it could be difficult today. You know, the conditions aren't great. Bournemouth are a funny side. Me and Wes were talking before. On their day, they can be really good, but defensively, I think we've got too much pace for them, and I think that'll play a big part today. With that same team, with those 3 up front, Martial especially, and Rashford, we can hurt them at the back.
Rashford unstoppable at the minute. Let's have a recap of those teams then. Of course, we are targeting a 4th consecutive win in all competitions today. So same team as we said against Norwich, and it's nice to see Martial leading that line.
Yes, I think since he's come back, I think he's took a little bit of pressure off Rashford in that sense. You know, when he was injured, Rashford was up there on his own, had to take a lot of the responsibility. But I think, as we've seen in the Norwich game, Martial, the way he holds the ball up and links the play, you know, he does it really well. And Rashford was like, he let him be loose and free. You know, he could work his own game, and it just seemed to all tick in that game. So, you know, hopefully it can continue. And obviously we've got James on the other side, again, pace. And, you know, as a defensive back line for Bournemouth, you will be thinking about that. So that, you know, it opens up space in other areas that they might drop deep, and we can start playing. So, yeah, I mean, Martial coming back is crucial for us.
And we can see the subs rolling across the bottom there, Sammy, as well. You might look at that and think inexperience, but we've seen enough of those players over the last few weeks, Greenwood, Garner and particularly Williams, to have confidence in them coming on if there's any injuries.
You're dead right, Alan, especially the young boy Williams. I think he's a fantastic prospect. I mean, the other night against Chelsea, when he put the winger into the stand, just threw him. I thought, I'll do me a little bit of nastiness in there. And every time I've seen him, he's got better and better, and he looks a fantastic prospect. Really does. I was just going to say as well, Helen, we're having a great run of penalty kicks, aren't we, Wes? Yeah. I mean, I don't know how many we've had this season, but that's all down to the pace up front with James and especially Martial coming back and Rashford. Once they start running at defenders on days like today, wet surface, defenders hate it. Wes will tell you. Pace and slippery conditions, we could get another penalty today if we could get them the ball in that final third.
OK, let's have a little look at the Bournemouth team then. Pretty straightforward 4-4-2 for them. I suppose the 2 that you need to look out for are up front, Wes, King and Wilson. They're the danger men for them.
Yeah, definitely. And on the day, like Sam said, they're a handful. You know, these guys can score goals. And we've seen Bournemouth go on runs before. And We don't want that to start today, but like I said, if we can get on top of him from the start, make it hard for him, especially defenders, if we can make them play deep, I think we should be able to control the play. But like we said, if everyone is on form, they are, the two up front especially, obviously we all know Josh, he used to be here as well, and we all know what a player he can be, but he's a big strong lad, he can run, he's powerful, and if we do give him chances, them two can punish her.
And 5 goals and 9 for Wilson as well, so another danger there. Thank you guys indeed. That is your team news then. Let's hear from the man who selected it. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is in the Vitality Tunnel with Stuart.
Ollie, it's the same team that was so impressive at Norwich. Are you looking for a similar sort of performance here today?
Well, we hope it's going to create relationships, more understanding. The more we play together, they get to know each other, and hopefully them little margins that we've had against us earlier on, we can turn them towards us.
Weather-wise, it's lively out there. Could that be a factor today?
Yeah, but then again, it's the same for both teams, and coming from the west coast in Norway, this is just normal for me. It's that's how a game of football should be played.
And you're looking for a fourth away win in sort of 9-10 days, so the guys coming into this great game with great confidence.
Great confidence, momentum, belief, just unbelievable how much, like when you tip them margins in your favour, players just play free, express themselves, don't think, and at the moment it's happening. But we know this is a new game. The last 3 games don't help us today. It's got to be a good start. 12:30 kickoff is always a difficult one after a high on Wednesday night.
Hope it goes well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
So the manager in good form as always. Before Norwich, if you think about it, we were 16th. It just takes a couple of wins, Sammy, doesn't it? Especially at this part of the season to climb you up that table.
I think we went from 15th to 7th with a victory. But that's it. But if you look at the table, it's so tight as well. I think there's about 3 or 4 clubs on 13 points.
Yeah.
And 3 points are so important, H, because at the end of the day, and you get that consistency there. Look where we are now, 7th. You get a result today, just outside the top 4.
Yeah.
That's what you want to be. That's where you want to be.
Obviously, depending on the other results, but it's nice to play first in that respect, isn't it, Wes?
It is, yeah. I mean, if we can win today, we get the 3 points on, and then it's for everyone else to do. But I think the last 3 games, especially, Ollie's he's got it into the players now that what the lads need to do, what's expected, and what I'm liking about it is everyone seemed to want it as well. The players are now sort of starting to understand what it is to be a Manchester United player, what they need to do, and that's not just the ability. That's working hard. That's trying for your teammates. Things are not going right. You've still got to work hard. That doesn't stop. And I've noticed that over the last 3 games. And
I noticed a change.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you something as well. I think we're fitter. At this stage of the season, the way we're getting about the pitch, as Wes is saying, I think we look fitter and sharper. And we're actually defending from the front, which is great as well.
Yeah.
With those 3 up there with their pace, putting people under pressure, I can see that.
It's just such a pity, isn't it, about all those injuries. Let's have a little look at the fixtures then. We could do with Arsenal definitely dropping points, but of course we are the early kick-off, and the other 3 o'clock club side travel to Aston Villa. Oh, no. I think that was the wrong one. Anyway, club side do travel to Villa. Arsenal host Wolves. City face Southampton. They're all pretty big games at 3 o'clock kickoff. And then the late one today is Chelsea travel to Watford for that one. So as we were saying there, the points, the margins of them are so small at this part of the season. 3 points can just vary on up there.
You go on a run, and as I say, we can definitely push ourselves up there to just outside that top 4. And then we put pressure on the likes of Arsenal and Chelsea. And it's all about winning games. And the more games you won, we're in a great run at the minute. 3 away wins. If we can get one today, going into like the Europa game, and then into the next league fixture. The lads can't wait to the next game. Once you start winning games like this, Alan, you can't wait to the next game.
Yeah. There we see the fixtures again. There we go. The right one this time. We've talked about all of today's games, but as I said, Wes, we could do with Wolves doing a job over Arsenal today. That would be nice for us.
Yeah, it would be nice. I mean, we do always think about our own game, but as we've moved up the table now, it would be nice for Wolves to help out as well. But like I said, today we just don't want to be complacent. We want to the same attitude and focus, concentration. You know, if we start off well, I can see the team at the moment, because we are a sort of confident team and we're playing well, that we can just keep pushing on, you know, and then when next week comes, we do the same again. Just the right focus, and I think that's what Ollie's been looking for over the past few weeks, and he's certainly got it off the players that have been on the pitch.
Oh. Sorry, Sam, I thought you were going to say something there. You just anticipation. Now, there have been some spectacular goals across all levels at Manchester United in October. You can have your say on the goal of the month winner now. Here are your nominees.
Runs superbly and picks out a pass here. It's lovely football. Is there a finish from Elanga? Magnificent Manchester United move, finished, of course, by Anthony Elanga at this level for the equaliser. Katie Zellum, it's magnificent! Manchester United's first ever goal against Manchester City is a cracker, and the Reds lead in the Conti Cup.
The finish line is very much in sight, though. 4 minutes of added time. United score a fourth. They're into the box again. It's a fantastic finish. Tremendous play from Aliou Traoré as he pirouetted away on the edge of the penalty area and lashed it across goal into the top corner.
Into Galbraith, who looks for Chong. And he has options, including Mella and Gomez maybe, who has a cool head and provides a very cool finish. When everyone around him was panicking, he kept calm, kept his nerve and took aim.
Galton getting in behind, that's a good looking cross, excellent header away, and it's in. Hansen, beautiful strike. She watched it all the way, and Manchester United hit the front inside 16 minutes.
And here is Martial, United looking a real threat going forward. James, oh Rashford, he could make up for his error here. Rashford, brilliant, no mistake. Marcus Rashford's 50th goal for Manchester United. Great control, and what a finish. He puts the penalty miss to the back of his mind and puts Manchester United in complete command. In goes Young, does well, and now Rashford. Martial. Rashford wouldn't quite run for him. Rashford, brilliant. Martial's in. Yes. Neville seen it. What about the interplay? Rashford and Martial was like Cole and York at peak. Fabulous finish. And finally, Norwich are extinguished. And the scoreline really does reflect Manchester United's domination. 3-0.
Laird. Plenty forward in black now. Laird. Crosses out to Galbraith. Oh, what a hit!
Fantastic.
That's an absolute screamer. Galbraith with a goal of the season contender.
Absolutely
right foot
fantastic.
on the volley in the corner of the net. The United fans behind that goal celebrate. We're in the last minute of stoppage time. Greenwood going on the outside. Greenwood scores, and Manchester United have won it in the fourth and final minute of stoppage time. Mason Greenwood scores, and it's perfection for Manchester United in the Leasing.com trophy. Rashford hits it well. Oh, amazing! Oh, that's Ronaldo-esque. Rashford with an impossible strike from fully 40 yards into the top corner, right in front of the United fans. Marcus Rashford with something incredibly special here. And is it enough to send United through to the quarter-finals of the League Cup?
There you are then, your goal of the month nominees for October. You can vote from Monday, that is. Guys, we did have a discussion before. I don't know whether there's any argument for either of you, but does that change anything? Or is it still Rashford free kick?
Leave the best to the last. That was a cracker.
Yeah.
Some great goals are, though. The young boy from Belfast, Galbraith, that was a fantastic goal. And the Martial one against Norwich. And some of the ladies' goals as well were fantastic.
Yeah.
For you, Wes?
Yeah, the same. There's not many hit like that all the time. It's it's way out as well, you know, and yeah, he's got to be Rashford. But there were some very good goals there.
The confidence that will give him as well, though.
Yeah, I think the last couple of games,
Mhm.
you know, his confidence is high. I think he's enjoying playing with Martial again. Little interplays that they're doing, little triangles. You can see the connecting, and like I said, him coming back takes a little bit of pressure off himself, and he's starting to enjoy it now.
Because there has been a lot of pressure on Rashford, particularly since the start of the season, Sammy. Not easy to deal with when you're a young player too.
Oh, not at all, Helen. I mean, when he came on the scene, he came on so well. He was great. He hit the ball for Man United in England, and then all of a sudden, as strikers do, you have a wee bit of a lapse, and then all of a sudden the pressure's on the kid, maybe asking too much. But nothing phases him for me, and he missed a penalty kick the other week in Norwich, and then finishes up putting the ball in the back of the net. That would have given him confidence as well. No, he'll be all right, Rashford. Don't worry about that.
What you were talking earlier that you can see a difference in the team, and I know Ollie mentioned it in his press conference as well, which we'll see a little bit later. But what do you think about the character that's coming together about the team at the minute? What do you put that down to, Wes?
Do you know what? They're running. When they're defending, they're getting in the opponent's faces. They're passing, sharp, quick. You know, nothing slow. If you watch the game, hopefully we start the same today, and little triangles, very confident on the ball, keeping it well. But at the same time, we've got electric pace up front, so we can do that, and then we can find these little balls over the top. Daniel James has stayed the same all season for myself, setting up goals, assists, great balls into the box. And they're just electric going forward, you know, but the defending side, I think, has got a whole lot better. We're not giving the opponents much time anymore. We Pereira, McTominay, Fred, they're all pushing on a little bit and making it difficult for them.
And having a setback forward is a big deal as well, isn't it? Because we didn't have that for so long. Let's get the inside track on today's opposition then in this week's Scout Report.
It's a trip to the seaside this Saturday for United as they make the long journey south to face A.F.C. Bournemouth at the Vitality Stadium. The Reds are looking to build on the momentum of 3 away wins in a week. Bournemouth are in their 5th season in England's top flight and got off to a strong start this campaign, but have since struggled to maintain that form. Since tasting victory over South Coast rivals Southampton in September, Eddie Howe's side have drawn 3 and were beaten once by Arsenal. They've also failed to score in their last 3 matches, but despite this poor run of results, the Cherries find themselves in 9th place in the table. They sit on 13 points, level with United. The two sides have only met 8 times in the Premier League era, and it's United who boast the more impressive record with 6 victories. The teams have drawn once 2 years ago at Old Trafford, and the only defeat came in December 2015, when United were beaten 2-1 by Bournemouth in their first season back in the top flight. Plenty more miles to be clocked up this weekend for United's away fans, and here's hoping for more goals like this from Zlatan Ibrahimovic on his Premier League debut 3 years ago.
Ibrahimovic, long way out, hits it low and scores! There is no stopping this man into his stride already in the Premier League, and Manchester United are blowing Bournemouth away now.
Bournemouth boss Eddie Howe is the current longest-serving Premier League manager, having rejoined the Cherries 7 years ago this week, following a brief spell with Burnley. In his first 3 years back, Howe steered Bournemouth from League One to the Premier League and was named Manager of the Decade at the 2015 Football League Awards. At just 41 years of age, Howe is still one of the youngest managers in the league and has been tipped as a future England boss. He's been speaking to the media to give his thoughts on the game.
I think when you look at the games we haven't scored in, the second half against Arsenal, very good attacking display, should have probably scored 1 or 2 of those chances we created. Norwich, now we were off in that game. And then you look back to last week and we had chances again against Watford. So in 2 of the 3 games I think we've had opportunities to score. Hasn't quite happened. The Norwich game we're put down as a bad day in front of goal. I back our players. You know, I think that's the simple message from me. I think we've got good enough players to score goals. We believe in the team and the way that we attack, and I think the goals will come.
Dutch-born defender Nathan Ake has caught the eye for his performances since arriving at Bournemouth from Chelsea in 2017. Not only can Ake defend, but he's also a threat in the opposition's box. He scored 10 goals during his time with the club. Ake has helped Bournemouth to improve their defensive record in recent weeks. They're currently on a run of 261 minutes without conceding. Further up the pitch, there's a player who'll be familiar to United, Josh King. The Norwegian forward joined the Reds in January 2008 as a 16-year-old and impressed in the youth ranks. He made just 2 senior appearances for United, but after numerous loan spells and 2 seasons at Blackburn Rovers, King joined the Cherries in 2015. He's since gone on to play 144 times for the South Coast side, scoring 44 goals. Our key man this week is 27-year-old striker Callum Wilson. The Englishman joined the Cherries in the summer of 2014 from hometown club Coventry and helped Bournemouth to win promotion with 20 goals in his first season. Wilson has been directly involved in 49 goals in 101 Premier League appearances and has scored once in 3 games for England. His first goal this campaign came against Leicester at the end of August. The striker scored 5 goals in his first 7 league matches of the season, but has failed to find the net in his last 3 games. Former Cherries striker Steve Fletcher holds the club record for the most appearances, playing over 600 games during a 20-year career. Here's what he's had to say ahead of the match.
We are aware of the big guns all firing, you know, Rashford's on form, Martial. We've got a few players back from injury, so on the back of a few good results, but we've got to be our best. Anytime we play a top 6 team or a big gun like Man United, we have to be at our very best. We need 8 or 9 players on it, and we hopefully Manchester are not at the races. I think we've done it once before in our first ever season in the Premier League. We're hoping to emulate that result again.
The last time the 2 sides met at the Vitality Stadium, United came away with all 3 points in dramatic fashion, thanks to this late winner from Marcus Rashford.
Pogba. Oh, great ball across towards Rashford, surely.
There it is. I told you.
That's the winner. That's the winner from Marcus Rashford. And the kings of the comeback have done it again. Rashford, life begins at 21. Bournemouth 1, United 2.
So your scout report ahead of this afternoon's game there. So Eddie Howe's one of the longest standing managers in the Premier League. What do you make of the job he's done there, Wes?
I think he's been brilliant. You know, he's a young manager. You know, at times he has Bournemouth playing fantastic, and they do go on really good runs and good winning spells. At the moment, you know, they've started off okay. They've dropped a few points recently, but you know, you've got to say he's got the players playing for him and how he wants to play, and he's done a really good job.
Man management makes such a difference, doesn't it, Sammy? And I was just going to bring up, you masterminded a 5-0 win against Bournemouth when you were manager for Morecambe.
Yeah, League 2. They were in the doldrums then, like, you know, they were actually coming back, because there was nearly a time where they were going to fold Helen. It was that bad, Bournemouth, no money. They were in a load of debt till I think this Russian millionaires, whoever took over and got them back on their feet. But yeah, he came to the Christie Park, it was in them days, and red hot favourites to go through the leagues back up again, and we beat them 5-0 on the day. Yeah.
Back in 2009, wasn't that long ago, Sammy?
2009.
Back in the day, you said.
Yeah.
2009. Are you surprised then that you've seen such a resurgence in their form over the last 10 years?
Well, as I say, I think the money that this man's come in has given him a big lift, and it's been used well as well. They've tidied the ground up, they've brought in decent players, and Eddie Howe, the manager's just brought them all through, brought them all together, and they actually play for him as well. You know, they respect the manager, and that goes a long way. And it's only a small, tiny little ground, and was it 11,000? 11,000 in the Premier. That's frightening. But he's done a fantastic job.
3 games, Premier League games without a goal, though. At the minute, they're having a little bit of a drought.
Yeah, that'll be the main problem. You know, he's when they are playing well, they score pretty good goals. You know, the 2 lads up front are fast, powerful, and can can put the ball in the back of the net. At this time, they're having a little bit of difficulties, so I'm sure that's the thing he's working on at the moment. And I think Sammy come on it before. When there's a little bit of a goal drought in your strikers, your teams do struggle because you do need them. But I mean, today's a big game. Kingy as well. He's playing against his former club, so he'll be up for it. And every team lifts the game against Man United. So I think in that sense we have to be very sharp. We are away, and we don't want their crowd, because when it does get going, it is loud, and we don't want the support getting on their side. So from the start, we've got to be very good and very focused.
Yeah, I think he said that himself, Eddie Howe, that they're going to need the crowd behind them. But as Wes says, everybody gets fired up for Man United.
Oh, of course they do, and the crowd will as well. But the best thing to do, Helen, is just keep them quiet by getting an early goal and taking control of the game, because the crowd's right on top of you. And if Bournemouth start well and get on top of you, that crowd play a part.
They've always been strong at home as well. They have the youngest average age in the Premier League is 25 years and 66 days. So an exciting period for them, if they're going to keep the majority of those players going forward.
Oh, without a doubt. And the main thing for them is as well, they've got a game plan, Eddie Howe, and he hasn't got a number two. He plays the same way, no matter if they're getting beat or they're not doing well. He can't change it. He sticks by that. I think is it 4-4-2 again today? Yeah, loves that. People wide, getting to the byline, getting balls into the box for a key.
People know what they're doing then.
People know what they're doing, but if they do it well, they're hard to stop. So we've got to do that. And then, as Wes touched on earlier, it's important that we start well. If we do get an early goal, I think we can win convincingly today.
Yeah, be nice to get a few goals from some of the other players around the pitch today too. Now, November is upon us, and you've been voting for your Player of the Month for October from the shortlist of Marcus Rashford, Scott McTominay and Dan James. It was Scott who won your vote, picking up back-to-back awards for September and October. To highlight his current form, Statman Dave and Danny Webber have been picking through his best bits against Norwich last week.
Rashford and Martial grabbed some really important goals for Manchester United against Norwich, but we've got to look at the Manchester United official man of the match, Scott McTominay, because he dominated midfield.
He did, and he was at the centre of everything good that United did. And he has been for a while now. He's been really consistent. His performances week in, week out are getting better. Just picked out a couple of points here. As you see, United on the front foot as they were. It's just a case of
good pressure from Manchester United. But I think the big thing is Scott recovering the ball, the second most for Manchester United, but then in that position, it's a very difficult pass to play, that right, Danny?
It is a difficult pass to make, but a very positive one to make, and it goes down to the mentality of the player. In the past, probably 3 or 4 years, United would probably have been guilty of playing the ball backwards, starting again, it becoming laboured, but that wasn't the case. It was wrapped into Pereira's feet.
Fired in there, creating a situation for United where they can get at the back four as well.
Yeah, and that's ultimately what you're trying to do. You're trying to break people down. You're trying to keep the momentum up. We go down the side. We're trying to recycle the ball and get it forward as quick as we can. Pereira plays a ball inside, just not the right weight on that pass, but from McTominay's point of view, again,
positive play, recovering the ball, playing forward. Let's say there's a few more instances of McTominay doing some really good stuff. This time it's winning the ball back twice in one single move.
Yeah, just hunting people down. He's relentless, making sure that we win the ball. I mean, Roy Keane used to say something, it was a case of don't just go for the hunt, make sure you go in for the kill, and that's exactly what he's doing every single time.
What's nice about this as well is we saw that forward pass, that pass into, a sort of a number 10 area to Pereira, but there's nobody there, so McTominay plays the right pass this time as well.
He does, yeah. It's congested with yellow teammates here, so from his point of view, he's gone out, found the most space on the pitch for United to go again.
Sort of playing out, as we're going to see on the clip. Really good. You're moving the appointed attack for United, doing the basics right, winning the ball twice and then moving on. And this one, I really like this bit, Danny.
Yeah, for me, again, this time he's hunting. Timing of his tackle, excellent. And then United are on the front foot again, counter-attacking. And it all comes from, sometimes the kind of thing that players don't get credit for, and he does it very, very well and does it simply. So he was outstanding.
Cleaning up, recycling the football, and then playing that positive fat pass, or winning it in a zone where you can instantly break on the opposition. Really important from a central midfielder.
Really important, and you know, you said cleaning up. That's the key word. Cleaning up, tidying up the play, and making sure that you get it forward as quick as possible.
Yes, a fantastic display last week, and clearly some fantastic displays in September and October, because the fans have voted him as their player of the month, or should that be months, both months. He has got that award. Fantastic accolade for Scott McTominay. I know yourself, Sammy, you've been really impressed with him.
Unbelievable, Helen. I think when he first came on the scene, I was thinking, you know, what's he going to do? What type of position? Where does he want to play? And this season he's been a revelation. For me, he's been the best player. And we've had a few, you know, the young players and the people that Ollie's brought in have done very well. But he's been outstanding. For me, he's been the key man. He's been the link for going forward. And also, when we haven't got the ball, he's racing about and breaking up play. He's been fantastic. He'll be the first player on Ollie's team sheet at the minute, the way he's going.
It makes such a difference as well when a player like that gets those accolades and they've come through the academy, Wes.
Yeah, it does, and I totally agree with Sam. He's the guy that stepped up. You know, at the beginning we all knew he was a good player, but I think over the last couple of months he's took it upon himself to maybe help even drive the team forward, and that's shown in his games. You know, even his passing range. You know, he's so confident at the moment. He's passing, he's finding gaps, he's passing forward quickly. You know, making it difficult, and you can see he's got all the confidence in the world at the moment, but he's the guy that I'm looking at thinking, yeah, he really wants it. He wants to change his team around, and he's the one that's starting it on the pitch, and you can actually see it.
And he's very vocal on the pitch as well, Sammy, for such a young player. Yeah.
Which we need, because we haven't got many of them, Helen, and then it's good to see. I think Maguire, I think he's going to be our future captain down the line, Maguire, and I think he's another one that'll start being vocal. And if we've got McTominay as well, that helps the other young players. We need that. We need somebody out there pointing a finger and getting extra out of people.
Yeah, he scored an important couple of goals for us as well, McTominay.
Yeah, he has. You know, he's got a great range outside the box. That one there against Norwich, sharp, just quicker to the ball, reactions, and he wants to do well. He wants the team to do well. He wants to do well, and I always feel like if he starts well, the team will start well. You know, and he gets himself about. He's not shy of tackling. He does the gritty stuff as well. You know, he gets about the pitch, and I mean, he's a strong young lad. You know, he's fit.
He could get goals as well, Wes, from set pieces.
Yeah, he's a big lad. He is a big lad. He's tall.
Does he remind you of anybody that you played with?
Reminds me of Carrick.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And but like I said, he is his own guy, but he's come on immensely in the last, especially couple of months, and myself, when I've looked at it, the defence have sorted itself out. I like how the defence is doing at the moment, nice and strong, and maybe that's what's helped him a little bit, because I'm telling you, if your defence can win every header, you know, you're not worried about him too much one-on-one, because they can deal with him, everyone themselves. He's took it upon himself to say, OK, I'm going to drive the team forward as well. And even when we're putting pressure on him and Pereira, they're brilliant at it. Young lads, fit, and they want to get up and put teams under pressure.
Thank you, Wes. Let's hear from the manager now. Ollie held his pre-match press conference yesterday morning and was asked whether he thought United had turned a corner after 3 away wins on the bounce.
I think the group is more ready for tougher times and better times. I think it's a miles better group that we have now. The camaraderie, the attitude of the boys, the selflessness, the humility. I think we are getting closer to what we want to see every day. The culture the performance in training, the way they prepare for games now, especially now this is the 4th game in 11 days away from home. We travelled together, seen each other a lot, but they've been disciplined.
You said a few weeks ago that you wanted to give Marcus a rest, but you couldn't because of the injury to Anthony. I guess now, given he's scoring, I think 4 and 4.
He doesn't want the rest.
Doesn't want the rest, yeah. But is there a concern there that he may suffer burnout, or is there a concern that you may have to take him out of the team at some stage? Or is that a...
Yeah, I've been able to rest him a couple of times in Europe. and but he's such a fit boy, professional boy, looks after himself. Hopefully had loads of sweets last night on his birthday, so the energy levels are up. And but when you get goals, when you score goals, when you get performances, you just want to play games. The rhythm of playing, resting, recovering, and playing again. Sometimes that's just as good.
You said in the week again that how well Williams did. He's on a new contract. James Garner has. Greenwood has. Do you expect Tahith Chong and Angel Gomez to commit anytime soon as well?
Well, we hope so. We've had lots of conversation with the boys, and obviously their contracts run out in the summer. But we want them to stay. I can't see a better place for a young lad that's gone through the ranks in the academy to play first team football. Both Angel and Chongi, they've been here for many, many years, and we just want them to continue their development, and hopefully they can see that young lads, when they take the chance, they'll get more opportunities.
This one of good forms coming about Paul Pogba in the team. How do you view that? Is that healthy competition? Does he walk straight back into the team? Is it a good problem to have?
It's always good to win games and have players on their way back from injuries, and good players. We've got many good players coming back, so hopefully we can keep the form going until they come back.
Anthony was obviously very impressive against Norwich on Sunday. We have seen this from him, that capability to sort of really devastate defences, but the consistency delivering that game after game has been harder for him. Is this the challenge for Anthony now, to develop, into a more consistent centre forward?
I don't think he's had a long run of games as a number 9. Well, he played many years ago as a young boy. Now he's maturing, 24. Saw his interview the other day. You have to be obsessed of scoring goals as a number 9, and he is looking more and more like a player who wants to score goals and not just showing his tricks. And for me, he's matured a lot in his behaviour on the training ground as well. So I believe that we're going to see the best of him in the next few years.
When you say about his behaviour around the training ground and around the club, what do you mean by what have you seen in him? What do you mean?
He is such an. He looks happier. He seems happy. He's such a how do you say infectious boy. His smile and his sense of humour, and you see he's happy here, and that rubs off on everyone, and it's great to see.
The former manager said that you always saw the best of Anthony when he was smiling. There were times when he would get quite down on himself, and it would be difficult to get performances out of him. But when he was smiling and when he was happy, it was a lot easier.
Yeah. No, he's. But that's what I'm talking about. The whole group as well. That mood, and it smiles better on the training ground. They encourage each other. It's nice to be a coach and a manager when you see them coming out and wanting to do extras. So we are improving.
Ollie there saying he believes we have a much stronger group of individuals than we had in previous seasons. Ollie's 50th Premier League fixture today as well, including 18 of those, of course, for Cardiff. But it's clear to see there's been a turnaround. I'm sure you're not surprised to see that under Wes. The players, I'm sure, happy to play for him because he's a happy guy himself. He's talking about Martial, but that comes from the manager too, doesn't it?
It does, and I like it when Martial's smiling. I think everyone does, but I think it's just shown in the performances, and whatever he's been saying on the coaching, on the pitches or inside when we're having meetings, the lads are getting onto it, and he's making them understand what it's like, what it means to play for the club. And you can see the lads are, finally, the last few games, they're starting to believe it, and that's what it's all about. We are playing for the club, and it means it is a big thing. It's a big thing to take on. But he's got a good group, he said, and that then vibes out, and yeah, the lads are looking good.
It's all about winning games, Alan. Winning games breeds confidence. In training, it's better. Wes will tell you. You look forward to going in. training. All the lads are happy, telling jokes, loving their training, and then they take that onto the pitch. And once you go on a run, everything's great.
And Ollie mentioned in there the culture of the team, and that's something he knows everything about. Of
course he does.
And as we mentioned earlier, there's a lot of young guys coming through from the academy. It does make a big difference, Sammy.
Oh, 100%. And it's great to see young kids. I think we had something like 7 or something from the academy in one of the Europa games a few weeks ago or whatever. And it's great for that, because that's what Manchester United's all about. You know, age has never, ever been a problem here.
Yeah.
If you're good enough, you were through in.
Yeah.
And then it's up to the lad, the kid, wherever, to take his chance. And Ollie's doing the same thing. Ollie's doing that there. He's dependent on youth, and he will give youth a chance, as it's seen now. And to be fair, most of them have taken this chance.
Yeah.
Which is good to see.
Who's impressed you of the ones that have come through?
Well, I know Daniel's been playing and he hasn't come through the youth, but he's been brilliant. Daniel James, I think Williams as well, which Sam said. I think the games he's been fantastic. I mean, you'd think he could play every game.
Yeah.
Garner as well. And we all know about Mason. You know, I think Ollie's giving time with Mason, and we all know how good of a finisher he is, but he's still a young lad.
Yeah.
But when he has had his chance, he's done really well. So, and then these other ones, but the group,
Chong and Gomez.
yeah, these other ones
have come in.
You know, and like you said, when so many players come through, the vibe around the changing room is brilliant. You know, everyone just gets on, they're straight into it. And they also, because they've been here for a while, they also understand what it means to play for the club.
Yeah, the Man United way. Now, you may have seen this week that we have launched the official Manchester United podcast, and it's pretty good if I do say so myself. There are already a couple of episodes up and available to listen to now, and on Tuesday we will be releasing the Dimitar Berbatov episode. Here's an exclusive preview for you.
When you go into dressing room full of winners, you try to learn something in a process. You are in that environment, so you need to adapt and fit into that environment of mentality and winning. If you don't, it's gonna throw you out probably. You know, it's not gonna that environment is gonna fit to your standards. It's the other way around. You need to fit into that dressing room full of winners, and of course you need to have big ego, if needs be, to defend yourself. You know, if someone tries to provoke you to see what you're made of.
Did that happen?
Well, of course, I mean, when you drive purely of players that want to win and everything, you know, Rio was screaming at me all the time. Well, you better about this and that, you know. But of course, then you start listening and say, Rio, off. But you do that, you know, purely because you're in the same team and you want to win. You want to win, and it's very important. Don't take it personally, as you said before. Yeah. Otherwise, why are you there? Yeah. You want to learn from the best. My style of football was to entertain, but bringing with that entertainment points and goals and assists that it's worth watching. And when your kid go home, you say, oh, did you see what Berbatov done the other day? You see that overhead kick or that pass to Ronaldo to score the goal?
Yeah.
You see that? No, this is what worth playing football
That
is.
must be your favourite assist, that one.
It is, honestly, because it was something special. I don't know how it happened. People ask me all the time, but it's, again, a habit that the body remember how you play football, and sometimes when you're in a situation when you need to do something extraordinary, if you see in a play football that way, it's going to help you because it's inside you, that movement. And I tried it at training ground. I tried it at home, you know, improvise to see if it's going to work. I didn't think that I'm going to do it ever, but here we go. That moment, it was just...
You have that unbelievable first touch. Eric had that. He had that vision, that pass. And Eric never ran around because you let the ball do the work. And that's what Eric did.
Yeah. And that's why sometimes when you ask me about, if people think that I was lazy, here we go. Eric, did Eric run around? No. But sometimes when they give you a label, you know, it's not fair.
No.
You know, I can give you probably another 10 players that play the same I do now. They're doing the same exactly thing I do, and I'm not running around. Purely because they read the game 2-3 steps ahead. They don't need to run. You anticipate. You're clever, and you can afford not to do it. Of course, after that, you appreciate the players behind you who fight for the ball and take it to give it to you. And then you need to be at your best.
How was it signing for Manchester United? What was that day like? Because there were reports that you weren't doing anything at Old Trafford. You were nothing to do with Manchester United, that Manchester City had made a bid. And then on Sky Sports News, there were live pictures of you walking around sort of behind the glass where the Sir Matt Busby statue is.
Well, I always say, especially to young players back home, that for me, this was my, how do you say in English? This was my peak. my top of the mountain. My personal success was this one, to sign with Manchester United.
Yeah.
Other players have different success, a lot bigger than me. But for me, this was my personal top. You know, and when I signed it, and I go to my room after everything was finished, and I was so exhausted, but I was so happy. You know, because I worked so hard for all this, and I'm coming from Bulgaria, like small country, and to go to Manchester United, the biggest club in the world, for me, it was like, well, Berbs, we made it. You know, this was unbelievable for me, honestly. After my first medal, I'm at home, you know, going like this, and then stop in a minute, like, well, Giggs have probably 102 medals, and I have one, and then
That's
see
exactly how I felt. But then the first time you win a trophy, you're like absolutely buzzing like mad. And exactly what you say, they're like multi-winners of it, and they're just taking it all in their, you know. And then Fergie turns around and says, right, that season's finished, we'll go on the next one.
Exactly.
I'm thinking, hold on a minute, just won the double there.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Yorkie when we won the treble, he went in to see the gaffer to have a year off. He just won the treble.
He wanted a year off?
What, a year off so he could go around celebrating. That's Yorkie, isn't it?
Go around where?
I don't know, around the world, whatever, just time out.
Wait, hang on. When he actually went into his office and said,
He
can I
went
take a year?
to see the gaffer.
He wanted a season of no football.
Any chance of having time off?
Just to celebrate.
Just to celebrate.
A gap year?
Gap year, like a gap year.
Assuming that went down well.
Yeah, get out of my office.
So that's an advanced look at next week's podcast episode with Dimitar Berbatov. Subscribe now to the official Manchester United podcast on Deezer or wherever you listen to your podcast. Some incredible stories there. So interesting listening to Dimitar Berbatov. And of course that story from Maisie at the end. Dwight York wanted a year off.
Doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me one bit.
That's absolutely brilliant. But what a player it must have been to play with him. The skill that he had and calmness on the ball, Wes.
Yeah, he was fantastic and a top guy as well. But I think what he speaks about there, you know, the first thing he speaks about, he talks about respect. You know, when you're on the pitch, things can go wrong and people are telling you off. But because of the high standards that everyone knows that you need to do and play for Manchester United, you just take it in. You know, the shouting at you and all the telling off, that's all to make you better. And I think he picks up a lot on it there, and that comes to respect and the high standards. But, I mean, he was a wonderful player. Delight to play with in training, his touch. For such a big guy, you know. I know what you've talked about, people say he don't run, but he lets the ball do the work, and he's totally telling the truth. Fantastic skills he had, and he scored some incredible goals as well.
It kind of came across as well in that podcast that he almost felt intimidated going into your dressing room, considering how good of a player he was. That showed you what that dressing room was like at the time when he signed. He almost felt like maybe he wasn't good enough to be there at the time. That's what very much came across during that interview.
Yeah, I've heard a few other players say, I mean, it's different for me because I've always been there.
Yeah.
But a few of the other players have sort of said similar things. And when you finish, you can sort of look at it and go, I understand what he means now. I mean, he's coming into the dressing room. Like
Full of winners. Full of winners.
How many has he won when he got there? You know,
that's
this
what he's
guy.
saying. I won one, but Giggsy's probably got 100.
Exactly. You know,
Scholesy and all them.
Yeah.
You're going into winners.
Yeah, he's going into winners, and now he has to perform. You know, he's got to make sure everyone understands why the manager's bought him, and maybe he has to. He feels like
let himself down, does he?
Yeah, of course, yeah. So, but he didn't. I mean, he had some fantastic seasons. I think he won top goal scorer one season as well. But how he played the game was fantastic to watch.
You don't very often see players that replicate his style of play, Sammy, either.
No, they're special players. I mean, Maisie there mentioned like Eric Cantona, similar. But the only thing is how it goes against them when it doesn't come off on the day, they do look lazy, because the magic ain't coming off. But more times than enough, you know, when he was here, Berbatov was unbelievable, just like Cantona. The won games on their own at times. Yeah. With his vision, his touch, and the way he could score goals. He got 5 in one game. He's one of them
Blackburn.
players. Yeah, got 5. It's remarkable.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
So yes, do tune in for that. That is available to download from Tuesday then. Now let's give the final word to the boss. If you missed it earlier, this is what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had to say pre-match speaking to Stuart.
Ole, it's the same team that was so impressive at Norwich. Are you looking for a similar sort of performance here today?
Well, we hope it's going to create relationships, more understanding. The more we play together, they get to know each other, and hopefully them little margins that we've had against us earlier on, we can turn them towards us.
weather-wise, it's lively out there. I mean, could that be a factor today?
Yeah, but then again, it's the same for both teams. And coming from the west coast in Norway, this is just normal for me. It's that's how a game of football should be played.
And you're looking for a fourth away win in sort of 9-10 days. So the guys coming into this great game with great confidence.
Great confidence, momentum, belief. Just unbelievable how much, like when you tip them, margins in your favour. Players just play free, express themselves, don't think. And at the moment, it's happening. But we know this is a new game. The last 3 games don't help us today. It's got to be a good start. 12:30 kickoff is always a difficult one after a high on Wednesday night.
Hope it goes well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Stuart mentioning the weather there. It's not very often that Bournemouth get worse weather than us.
It's usually sunny down there, isn't it? Yeah, totally different.
How much of an impact will it have on the game?
Well, obviously it looks a bit tricky there. I mean, there's wind and there's a lot of rain. I think the pitch will be perfect. I think it's great for forwards. When you get a pitch like that today, forwards love it because defenders, when you're running at them, they can't keep their feet. It should be an exciting day today, Helen, if the pitch is the way it is. I think it'll suit United.
What kind of game are you expecting then, Wes?
Same quick, lots of rain on the pitch. We're going to want to start at high tempo as well. So I think it's going to be a quick game today, and hopefully we can be on top of him in the first 20 minutes and get an early goal, like Sam said before. But yeah, I think it's going to be a quick game, and the rain, I think, it'll help us as well.
You said last time you loved playing nights like that. It was whenever it was an evening game, but you loved playing weather like that. What way will Eddie Howe approach this game, do you think, Samuel? Will he just be going for it?
He'll go and try and win it. That's the way he does, especially at home. As you said before, they're in a little bit of a goal drought at the minute. Hope that continues, but he will say to his players, hey, let's go and have a go. If we're going to get beat the way we want to play, he's that type of manager. They'll go out and try and win the game, no doubt about that.
And only goal difference separates us,
exactly.
So it's a really important 3 points today, Wes.
It is, yeah, and I'm sure the lads will understand that. We will go into the game with confidence, but we do have to start the same pace, and if we do that, I'm sure we'll be good. But Eddie will have them, they'll be flying today. They know they need to win this game.
I'm sure Martial's fired up for this one as well and getting back into a rhythm after being right injured.
Especially scoring goals as well. You can't wait till your next game, as I said before, Helen, them, Rashford, Martial and the boy James, they can't wait to play today. Just want to keep this run going, and that'll be running right through the side.
OK, thank you very much indeed. That is all we have time for you. Pre-match here at Old Trafford. Time to hand you to your commentary team, starting with Stuart Gardner and Ben Thornley. First, though, let's leave you with a reminder of today's starting 11.
Number 1, David De Gea. Number 29, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Number 5, Harry Maguire. Number 2, Victor Lindelof. Number 18, Ashley Young. Number 17, Fred. Number 39, Scott McTominay. Number 15, Andreas Pereira. Number 21, Daniel James. Number 10, Marcus Rashford. Number 9, Anthony Martial.
So that's the United side, 4-2-3-1 after playing 3 at the back at Chelsea in midweek. Same side that was so impressive at Norwich last weekend. Rashford, Martial and James causing havoc. McTominay, of course, club's player of the month. He'll look to continue his great form in midfield as the teams emerge from the warm and dry of the tunnel to what must feel like playing on the deck of a North Sea trawler down here at Bournemouth, Ben Thornley.
Yeah, it's conditions we haven't seen all season. Really driving rain, blustery winds. The wind actually, Stuart, from this morning early doors has calmed down, but it's still, I think, going to play a key part with some of the high balls you'll see this afternoon.
The Royal Signallers are here to lay a wreath, and we will have a minute's silence before the game, because of course this is Bournemouth's nearest home game to Remembrance weekend, which is next weekend. Bournemouth side, remember, who are level on points with United, but they haven't scored in the last 3 games, and that's despite the pace and threat of King, both Wilsons and Fraser. And it is Harry Wilson who comes in for Danjuma, the only change from the side that drew 0-0 at Watford. Strange, they've got a lot of attacking threat, and yet, strangely enough, they can't seem to score at the moment.
Yeah, they are a very, very strange side. I mean, they play football the right way. They have got some very, very attacking players, and players that we know, like Callum Wilson, that are very, very good goal scorers. Josh King the same. And it does seem a bit odd that they haven't scored, but that is something United will have to be very wary about this afternoon, because Bournemouth are very capable.
The conditions are really appalling. Yes, it's raining heavily, but that's not really the big issue. The big issue is the strength of the wind. You remember United conceded directly from a corner on a day similar to this back at Christmas 2015. It's a nightmare for defenders and a nightmare for goalkeepers, these sort of conditions.
They certainly are, Stuart. He will have to be on his mettle, David De Gea, as will the defenders, especially from free kicks and from corners. As you quite rightly say, the stands here are very, very low, and it's probably the only Premier League ground in the country where the conditions do play a part.
Just going through the formalities here before the kick-off. I'm sure the likes of Callum Wilson, Josh King will be desperate to get back to goal-scoring way, especially Josh King against his old club. But Manchester United with Rashford and Martial in sparkling form. Great link-up play at Norwich last week, and Rashford scoring an outrageous goal at Chelsea on Wednesday night. When the wind's like this and when he can make the ball move, then if there is a free kick around 30 or 40 yards out, you know who's going to take it. We're going to be joining our radio commentary team quite soon, but first of all, both sets of players are coming to the centre circle for a minute's silence. Bournemouth's closest home game, of course, to Remembrance Weekend.
Additionally, today marks our first Premier League fixture since the passing of our former director, vice chairman and chairman Peter Hayward, a former Football League referee who acted as director of this club for over 20 years. We will also use this period of time to remember him. The period of silence will begin and end on the referee's whistle and will include the playing of the last toast.
A minute that puts everything into perspective. Let's join our radio commentary team. Bournemouth against United. Andy Ritchie with Adam Summerton.
Thank you, Stuart. Afternoon, everybody. And what is a cloudy, wet and windy Vitality. The rain teeming down as we prepare the kick-off here. But it's a full house, an expectant crowd. I say the weather might not be ideal, but United's form increasingly is.